They were all young, all healthy, all described by everyone who knew them as happy, stable, with everything ahead of them. And they all ended up in the water. Welcome back to the Unsolved Cases edition of The Haunted Truth. Last episode we covered the Doodler, 3 witnesses, 0 arrests. Tonight, a pattern so consistent, so deliberate, that 2 retired detectives spent years trying to convince the world it wasn't a coincidence. And yet for years the world didn't listen. Since 1997, over 40 young men have been found drowned in rivers and lakes across the United States. Almost all were college students. Almost all were last seen at a bar or a party hours before their bodies were recovered. Almost all had no history of depression, no history of self-destruction, no reason anyone could point to that explained why they ended up alone in the water. In almost every case, the ruling was accidental drowning. But 2 retired New York detectives, Kevin Gannon and Anthony Duarte, spent years connecting the cases. And what they found near the water in the vast majority of locations where bodies were recovered stopped them cold. A smiley face, painted or scratched onto a nearby surface, a bridge support, a wall, a tree beside the bank. Always a smiley face, always near the water, always after a young man drowned. They brought their findings to the FBI. The FBI publicly disagreed. Accidental drownings, unrelated graffiti, no connection. And despite the official disagreement, the drownings continued. Here is what makes this case impossible to dismiss and impossible to confirm at the same time. These are not the kind of people who end up in rivers alone at night. The consistency of the victim profile across decades, across dozens of states, across hundreds of miles, is a pattern that statistics alone struggle to explain away. But without an official investigation, without a task force, without resources, without the institutional will to treat these deaths as murders, the pattern remains exactly what it has always been. A question with no answer. Over 40 young men. The same symbol. The same ruling. 0 arrests. Comment below which unsolved case you want the Haunted Truth to cover next. This is the Haunted Truth. The stories that were buried don't stay buried forever.